Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new ball-busting edition of the Fans of Power podcast. I am the co-host that everyone hates the most, Tyler Baker, and with me, as always, is the Triangle of Terror. Some people might call us that. They might call one of us just a complete asshole, one of us most lovable person in the universe. We don't know what people think anymore. You know, we're constantly changing from faces to heels all the time on this podcast, as I'm sure some of you guys have felt. Joe Amato, Nasty Nate Kennedy, we're just here to have a wonderful time tonight, aren't we, guys?
As always, of course. And I
maybe piss off a few people on the way.
And I've changed it to reflect Tyler's full-blown heel change. If you guys have seen on the thumbnail here before the show started, or you're on the Facebook page, you can see that we got all brand new versions and looks to ourselves, and I have also made sure that Tyler is now the evil member of the show, and Joe is the heroic member. So there we go.
And
we're just staying true to our characters.
Yes, and thanks to Grimbot for those great redesigns. They're awesome.
Yeah, that was awesome. He got rid of to do that.
Yeah, he got rid of my gut, and he gave me the battle armor as how I critiqued the battle armor figure about a week ago. I think that's where that came from. Looks like he lowered my head too, but I like it. I appreciate it. The tidy whiteys, I can't remember. It's like, how did that start? Was that with Fedmon in the chat room or something?
No, that was just us kind of making jokes that, you know, Joe's probably sitting there in his underwear, never wears pants. I think it's just kind of snowballed.
Is that how it? Okay. I was like, I never knew. I couldn't remember.
I'm sure somebody probably said something because I can't see the chat room ever. So I wouldn't be surprised if someone brought up Joe wearing tidy whities with skid marks in him or something like that in the chat room. But yeah, that's what I remember is that was just, we would just joke that Joe walks around and you know, probably baggy tidy whities, probably throwing like baggy white socks too with like, you know, holes in them or something like that. Just
you know what's
painting this wonderful caricature of Joe Amato.
And out of all things, like I said, because I have boxers, that's what I've worn for the past, I think, 25 years. Is like, I can't even remember the last time I had, well, if I just said 25 years, then I guess it's been 25 years since I had whiteys. So yeah, that's what I wear. I don't like the tidy whiteys. Like, crush your balls.
I'm more of a boxer brief kind of guy. It's a good in between because boxers for me it's too loosey, man. Everything's just like flopping around everywhere. I gotta have it.
It's like we're talking about balls on the podcast. How did this go from massive to universe?
You gotta have it at least a little bit contained. That's how I've always looked at it. You can't just have it like flying around all over the place.
How about you, chat room? What do you wear? Boxers or briefs? You like your nuts tight or loose? It's
my God. Do you really want people in the chat room like throwing out God knows what when talking about their balls or other people's balls?
I don't wear any, man. I just have my pants. That's all I do.
I could never go commando. I attempted that once, and just the texture of the jeans.
Oh, that is the way to go. That is the absolute way to go.
That's more about Tyler than I ever wanted to know. Well, go ahead, Joe. Let us know all the beautiful people that are in the chat room tonight.
I think have them like, what the fuck's going on? Zentron, Papa Hud 69, Michael Purvis, Vedmon, Mike. I'm sorry, I just said it twice. Zen Brown, Grimbot, Carlos, Adam Gabbert, Brian Davis. Gavin, hey, somebody new. I don't think I remember seeing you in here before, so thanks for popping in. Spider Rat, Curtis Ackerman, yeah, you better be here for this episode. Darth Baca, and I think I hit. Jesus, how many fucking comments have there been?
Wouldn't that be some shit? Like we finally do this episode, and Curtis Ackerman's not here for it. Yeah, that would make sense.
Well, let me finish. Jaime Mares, Jason Havlick. And now I think I hit, and JSP just hit there. I think I got everybody. If I missed somebody, sorry about that. But damn, there we go. And I said your name right, Jaime. I said it right last time. I think. Can we
talk about something non-Masters of the Universe related at the beginning of the show here? Because I already saw something that someone asked in the chat to kind of give our opinions. I know Joe probably has nothing to say because he never watches these, but.
Oh, I'm sure I know what this is. Probably just, you know, Joe's had a experience like with Taco Bell and damn near everything else we bring up.
No, I was going to say yesterday was the DC Fandome event, and they showed off all sorts of things. The Snyder Cut trailer, Wonder Woman 1984, but I think the main thing that a lot of people sort of latched onto at this event was the Batman, the little teaser trailer that they put out. It's about, 2 minutes long or so. Lots of mixed reception on the internet about it, and it's kind of funny to me because I watched it multiple times. and I'm all for it. I have a friend. I didn't tell Tyler about this beforehand, but I have a friend, and I sent him the link. He's like, "Yeah, I already watched it. It looks like bullshit." And I was like, "Well, what do you mean?" He's like, "It looks like here. I'll bring it up and read it really quick to you guys."
I was like, Nathan, you have another friend besides me? What the hell, man?
Yeah. I'm cheating on you with other friends. It looks like pretentious bullshit to me. So I gave him the laughy faces because
pretentious bullshit.
Hang on.
I'm sure he probably loves the Nolan films, and doesn't
he does. He went on to say, "I give up on them ever making a Batman movie that I will actually like again." And I said, "If that's pretentious, what does that make the Nolan movies?" And then he said this: "It wants to be more important than it is. I know the Nolan movies had that going for them too, but I like the cast and the aesthetics. This one looks like it has some steampunk emo vibe to it." And I didn't go into details with him after that, but I think the reason that he got that is at the end of the trailer. For those of you who don't know, go ahead and watch it. Takes off the cowl, and he's got longer hair than most of the other Bruces that we've come to know. But he actually has the black makeup around his eyes, which they never really did in the other movies when they take the cowl off. The black makeup wouldn't be there. When they got it on, you can see it. When they got it off, I thought that was a nice touch, but some people are taking it that he looks too sad or something. I'm like, no, it's one of the things I've seen people complain about, as it doesn't seem right that they got the makeup there, and then he takes it off, and immediately it's like it was never there before, and that doesn't match. I like the vibe to the trailer. I like the detective route. I like having the Riddler and like this weird. He's almost like a serial killer, leaving note like he's always done. But it's just it's got a good darkness to it. We'll see how it goes. The movie could come out and it could be shit, but just based off of that trailer, I like what I see so far. I've been behind it all the way. I know other people were like, "Oh, Robert Pattinson, he was in Twilight." I'm like, well, yeah, you got to get past that. He can actually be a decent actor. I don't know. People are weird about that stuff. I know, Tyler, you enjoyed it quite a bit.
I've watched that trailer a lot. I watched it multiple times last night, and quite a few times today. I sent it to my brother. He thought it was awesome looking, and I was on with the casting. Twilight sucks balls. I think that goes without saying. But it was like, you know what? I haven't seen any of Robert's other films, but I felt like just knowing what he's done and trying to move past it. And it's not like he's super proud of the Twilight films.
But shit, it made him rich, so whatever.
Yeah, it did. Can't argue with that. But I felt like, I'm like, oh, I'll wait and see. Like, I was cool with that casting. Me and Nathan talked about that on that podcast that no one gave a shit about. Back when it was announced, and I was just waiting to see a trailer. I was so happy to see the Riddler was going to be the main villain, that the Penguin was going to be in it, even though it was Colin Farrell. I was like, I don't know. Colin Farrell can suck a lot. Occasionally it'd be all right, but that trailer kicked my ass. Like, God, it was gothic. It wasn't super real world, man, because Batman's a real guy. It's got to take place in the real world. No, the hell with that, man. It looked like something out of a comic book, like the Keaton films do, where they look like they're, just Gotham should look like a gothic,
or like
paradise.
Long Halloween. It kind of reminded me of, which I think they took inspiration from. Like, just
they did, yeah.
It looks like
there's some characters from the Long Halloween in that, yeah.
Yeah. So,
but I love I want Joe to watch this. Like, the hell with you and your phobia because of Friday the 13th Part 8, dude. Like, I think Joe would like the Riddler in this because I'm like, oh my God, like this is a brilliant take on the Riddler. Like, I love his voice, the music, when the logo comes crashing in at the end of the trailer with the music. Oh man, it makes my nipples hard, dude. It's so cool, man. And Pattinson, the Batman outfit looks phenomenal.
The little bit that we got to see in action, like
what little we got to see,
look good.
And then thank God to not see any fast editing, or speed up bullshit, something the Nolans could never get right, where we actually see Batman beating the shit out of someone in camera. It's not sped up. It's not altered or edited. Oh, what the hell did happen? No, you see it in camera. If that was edited in any other way, they did a damn good job of making it look like that. Looks about as genuine as Batman could possibly be on screen beating the shit out of somebody.
So hopefully it's good. I mean, it could totally suck. and whatever. But and I see some stuff in the chat. I do kind of agree that it seems like having another Batman movie, especially after, you know, the universe they were trying to build didn't really take off how they wanted it to. It just seems like too much in a short amount of time. I kind of link that to similar to Spider-Man in a way. It's just been like too much Spider-Man. That people, because, you know, like, we can keep up with it, but other people are like, oh, it's another Batman movie. Someone else is playing Batman. Like, what is this?
Well, I almost felt like people kind of felt the same when Batman Begins came out, because I felt like no one really gave a shit before it came out and when it came out, because it did okay. Yeah. But it was like after home video, and then Heath Ledger's announced the joke, and people are just busting nuts all over.
But it was also before comic book movies themselves became these big, huge tentpole things that this is like the only movies that people go watch during the year sort of vibe. Batman Begins came out in 2005. Like, that, there was still that stink of Batman and Robin. You know, people were like, oh man, that sucks so bad. But now it's different. They can make comic book movies about anything that's probably going to do well at this point. Well,
I'm excited just because it feels good to be excited for Batman for a change.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that's why.
And just in general, like, I'm not excited about anything Marvel's doing. You know, maybe Shang-Chi, maybe we'll get lucky and that'll be an ass kicker of a film. Probably not. Probably just be like the same silly comedy club bullshit we're going to see with everything else. But I would hope something like that would be awesome. Or Blade. I don't see that happening either, because Disney's afraid to be, you know, anything more than, you know, comfy, cozy for teenagers who don't read damn comic books and children.
Yeah. And I do agree with some of the stuff in the chat about saying that for some of them it doesn't look different enough from the Nolan movies, just from the dark, gritty aesthetic that the trailer gave a vibe to.
Oh no, I think this looks a lot more like how Anton Hurst first designed the Keaton, the first Batman from '89. How Gotham looked in that film, I get vibes of that in this.
No, one. but I can see why people would sort of think that, though. I feel like this one seems a little more grounded within itself, as opposed, like, the Nolan movies, like, even before, like, he's always had this thing of trying to make things like grander than what they are, and sometimes they just don't need to be. I don't know.
Well, that's why that's one of my biggest problems with those films too. Sorry, Joe.
Are you fine? Go ahead.
Sorry, this isn't a Batman podcast, but I did want to talk about it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but no, it just that's where I felt like Nolan's films couldn't make up their mind. Are you going to be grounded in reality, or are you going to be grand? Because the times they want to be grand do not connect with the tone and template that they're setting up, and then they decide to get kind of crazy and nuts all of a sudden. Like, okay, this it just doesn't work.
And
from from Begins to Dark Knight to Dark Knight Rises, like, it's that same premise. It's grounded, man, because there's real people, and then they get out of control and they start going for the stars, and you're like, this doesn't work, people. You can't have it both ways here. Batman needs to be set in a fantasy world anyway.
Yeah.
This realism, I'm so sick and tired of everyone saying, I like Batman because he's a real guy. Shut the hell up, man. He is not a real guy, because no real guy can go through the stuff that Batman does. That's what makes him such a phenomenal character.
And most real guys aren't billionaires either. Grinch did say, could it be that's why you're looking forward to this Batman? As it's the polar opposite to Marvel? In a way, I would say yes. For sure.
Yeah. At least with this trailer, there was no hints of comedy and shit. But now, when they release the next big trailer that's probably a little bit longer, they could throw in a couple of zingers like, I gotta dress up like a bat. Clearly has issues. I mean, look at my car, man. You know, shit like that they did in the Batman Begins trailer.
All right, well, we'll leave it at that. The Wonder Woman trailer looked okay. I still haven't watched the first Wonder Woman film. I haven't watched Aquaman. I watched Justice League a while back. I thought that sucked. The Snyder Cut coming out. I watched the trailer. I'm like, okay, it looks like the elements are still there. Like, yeah, you're probably just going to take out the comedy bits that they threw in. I still don't see that being that good, and I hear it's going to be about 4 hours long, and they're going to break it up into parts to be on HBO Max. So it'd be just 4 1-hour-long parts, whatever. When that comes out, maybe I'll give it a shot, see what it looks like. I didn't really pay much attention to anything else. But we can go ahead and move on from the DC Fandom, which I still think is a silly name. They had, like, the CGI, like, you're in a dome, and WWE's doing the Thunderdome. I'm like, what is it with domes right now? What's that all about? Anyway, Joe, what would you like to move on to? Because we haven't really given you a chance to speak in a while.
We could start off with the commentary on Golden Disc of Knowledge.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll do that so we can get that out of the way for Curtis Ackerman, and then we can I know Tyler gave his opinions on this episode beforehand. I want to say, like, was it last week or the week before? I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, well, we brought it up last week, and I just gave a brief, like, you know.
But I know between the two of you, you're both you're not like, it's not your favorite, and it's kind of there. And James Etalk actually gave this episode a 7 out of 10. And I figured you guys go ahead. I got the link down below. Get that loaded up so you're ready to go. But I figured what I would do.
Curtis, did you want a rating already?
Oh, no.
Curtis.
I was going to say what I was going to do really quick while you guys are loading that up is read you some of the trivia tidbits from James's book that I have right here in my hand. It's also...
Is it the New Testament you're reading from?
It's the unofficial cartoon guide.
Yeah, not the... I got the Old Testament sitting right.
I mean, I got that over here as well, and the verbiage. I mean, it's basically got the same things in it for the most part. I know there are some differences. Anyway, so before we get into this, here is some trivia. This script claims that Skeletor built Snake Mountain with the knowledge he acquired from the Golden Discs of Knowledge. When the Horde were introduced in She-Ra, this theory was forgotten, as it appeared that a majority of Snake Mountain was built by the Horde. This episode features one single very quick shot of Trapjaw's claw arm, the only time we see the toy-based attachment in this series, so make sure you guys are looking out for that. Skeletor claims that Snake Mountain was named after a giant snake, another thing that seemed to get left behind with this episode. This episode also marks the final appearance of Zodak. And then John Berwick, the writer of this episode, had previously appeared as Matt Prentice in Filmation's live-action series Space Academy and Jason of Star Command. So there are some tidbits for you. I'm going to start doing that before we do the commentaries. Read you guys a little trivia bits. That way, if there's anything...
No, I think it's a good idea.
Anything that is mentioned, like Trapjaw that we said before, something for you guys to kind of look out for as we go. But, yeah, Joe, you can give your rating at the ass end of this when we're done.
Mm-hmm.
He never shuts up.
All right. Well, Tyler, if you want to go ahead and give us the countdown, we will go ahead and get that episode going.
All right. Curtis, enjoy, bud. 3. Well, Joe's... Why is that funny, Joe? Why is that funny?
Because you're telling him to enjoy. It's like, he might, but...
I mean, he did say it's one of his favorite episodes, so...
Well, I will
appreciate
say this,
it,
like,
that's great.
I'm not going to destroy or be ugly about this episode because it's not like the Star Child or greatest show in eternity. It's not like that. We'll get into that.
We'll just give our honest opinion.
Well, plus,
like
we're doing this, and I encourage fans. I think Captain Chronic also in the comments last week wanted us to do Wizards of Stone Mountain. So yes, the next commentary we do will be Wizards of Stone Mountain. So. If you all have episodes you'd like us to review, it helps if you get off your ass and say something about it. Curtis, to his credit, has been on us about reviewing this like multiple times.
We appreciate
and we do.
Get off your ass while you're sitting on your ass to sit here and watch us on your device.
Say, off your ass, on your feet. Ain't no time to beat your meat.
Yeah, that came from...
Leave a comment in the comment section there, damn
Next
it.
Friday. That's still a pretty decent movie, I'd say.
Well, that's the only funny thing about that movie was just that line. That's because Nathan used to say it all the time, and I just thought it was funny when he did it. All right. On to Golden Disc of Knowledge. So, all right. 3, 2, 1, action.
I imagine I'll probably be bombarded with ads throughout, so once again, I may be like, hey, give me a timestamp real quick of where you guys are, and I can...
I had to play mine ahead of time to get rid of them. I hope it doesn't pop back up because I notice sometimes even when you do that, you play it ahead of time and you go back, it'll do it again. It's like, you better not because this one had about 30, I think.
I would love to, and David Weiss, who wrote the teleplay, who's no longer with us, but he wrote some of my personal favorites of the series as well, like Betrayal of Stratos. like the logic in using Zodak in the series, because I would love to have like sat in like a writers meeting or something like that, and how they decide, in this episode, like they're kind of like giving like some toys, upcoming characters and vehicles from Mattel. Like, hey, there's some upcoming characters. Would you mind featuring some of them? Whereas Zodak was used sparingly only in season 1, but it just kind of, I would love to have known people's like logic and like, I want to use Zodak in an episode, because he's used in the Search, Quest for He-Man, this one of course, and am I missing one, Joe?
I'll be honest, I thought I remembered 3. The thing is, I'll just be honest about this, is, I was always so excited when Zodak would pop up, and this was my least favorite appearance of him, because there wasn't really much for him to do. Am I saying he did more in the other ones, like a little bit? But, it just felt more important. Something just felt off. As a kid, when this episode would come on, I remember I never got excited. And again, Curtis, not being a dick to you, and I'm not doing it. So I know what you're saying. Oh, fuck off, Joe. But, I don't know. Every time I watch it, it's just so many things felt off to me. And as when we get to those parts, you'll see what I mean. But like even the part when the sorceress is going to talk to Adam here in a second, how she has to make mention of how she is doing it, and why it's like, okay, we've seen this communication before. Why is it feeling so force-fed? But it's just when it starts happening later. Do I like the idea of other cosmic enforcers? It's fine. I like Zodak being, of course, the main one, and it is cool to see other cosmic enforcers, but something about this episode just always felt strange to me, which, like I said, we'll get to when it comes. But
I will say this: like, I am not a fan of expanding a lot of the characters. Like, that's why I've always been a fan of Zodak being the one. It takes away. That's why the whole King Grayskull thing and the shitty classic spot of having multiple.
His unique purpose of being the cosmic.
It takes away the significance of that character. Like, I don't want to see a race of web stores or a race of beastmen. Like, I just don't want to see that. They are the only ones. That's what makes them special and unique. That's why Skeletor hires them. But I get why Curtis would like that idea, because he had Kevin Sharp, our beloved friend Kevin Sharp, do a commission of Xanthor as a cosmic enforcer, which I understand that. And I get why some people in the classics bios like the idea of having like a Green Lantern.
Green Lanterns, yeah.
But still, it's just like it ain't for me, and that's why I feel like it's a personal preference there. And just the golden discs of knowledge itself, I feel like took away a lot of the importance of Grayskull,
which we're gonna get to, and I'll admit that's the only thing I thought was kind of crazy was Grayskull looking nuts. I remember as kids like, oh, that looks freaky, but you're right. When we get to the whole idea behind the golden discs of knowledge, it just
the sorceress is throwing a far out party. That's what's going on right now.
I will say anything that takes place at night around Castle Grayskull gets an A+. Like, whatever's going on though, it's always epic when you see the beautiful purple skyline around Grayskull. Like, it just kicks so much ass. Like, action sequences in Night and He-Man are always the best. We're seeing some kind of similar animation that was in Daimar Demon when the castle there.
I actually appreciate these trippy visuals with these creatures.
I hated them. I'm not being a dick again. I swear I'm not. I don't know. They felt weird. Like, oh god, the hallucinations of holograms. It's like I did not like them. And God, it might sound like an ass. I'm not trying to be.
It does kind of set up Xanthor as like, okay, if you're trying to atone, but you want to scare the shit out of everyone to get your attention, like. It kind of like, I get why they're doing it, because this is meant for kids at the time. So you're trying to set up the kids for like, oh my god, like the castle's haunted. I get why they're doing it, but it kind of it takes away like his whole approach of like, I'm trying to get your attention so that way I can you know what make up for my misdeeds.
I'm going to banish both of you to the phantom dimension.
No. See, here's the other thing, which you're going to start seeing here soon for those that remember this episode. I think what got me annoyed as a kid was how, like, the Sorceress and Zodak and Battlecat it's like everybody is being like, it seemed out of character, like they were being asses to Xanthor, meaning like they wouldn't forgive. And it seemed out of character. Like, He-Man's the only one that was willing to give him a second chance, which the moral of the story is that, which is great. Try to give people a second chance. But it just seemed like it was out of character for the Sorceress, for Zodak, to like, they almost didn't want to give him that other chance until He-Man, made it a point. I didn't like that.
But you got to
like
think though that like they actually have the history with him to see the effects of what he had done. You know,
Zodak more
But,
than
but,
anything.
yeah, that's what I'm
Zodak
saying.
more,
Like
but the sorceress is like
they're closer.
she's always so sweet. She's nice. She's understanding, and there was just a way it felt uncompassionate. I just didn't like how the sorceress
but
acted.
even
It's just I don't know.
I kind of
Zodak
feel like
would
it should have been left up more to Zodak to be
Yeah,
issuing
Zodak,
how
he could be
important. Yeah,
pissed.
the sorceress, like she's always portrayed as a motherly character to everybody.
Right.
Like a
It
much
was out
more.
of character.
There's an understanding with her. She should not so quick to,
Right.
unleash the beast on people. Like she has two
Then
open
it
ears.
felt out of character, didn't it, for her?
It does. Battle Cat, yes.
Zodak.
I'm not surprised for Battle Cat's character to be portrayed that way, but I felt like Zodak should have been here. I think given a little bit more to play around with to kind of play up the importance of like, dude, this is a big it shouldn't have been just strictly He-Man. Like I think they should have added an extra layer of danger to like Zodak really is very hesitant about this. Like I know you've only got so much time in a 22-minute episode for kids, but I felt like it should have taken away that screen time from the source and give it to Zodak to kind of build up that Xanthor's crime was really, really bad.
I agree with that.
And you don't have to elaborate, but to intensify the tension of like, can He-Man trust this guy?
But even back to Joe's point about, and even yours as well, about how the sorceress is sort of like the nice one, the motherly. I feel like even the people that exist like that, there's got to be at least one person in the world that really like triggers something for them to make them like seem a little out of character.
Well, and I'm sure, but I felt like this is probably not the time to add the sorceress in as someone who's skeptical. This should have been like Zodak is aware of this conversation and immediately shows up to Grayskull. He's alerted to the presence that he's communicating with the sorceress. Like he's like, all right, what the hell is going on here? What the hell are you doing here? Like immediately ready to like put the hammer down on this guy.
It just felt like a lot of stuff just pretty much, it's just like, it came so quick. If this is something that happened so long ago, and all of a sudden now he wants to atone for it, and these things that are supposed to be so important, that had all this knowledge, like now you come out of nowhere, and then when we eventually make it to Snake Mountain and you see where they're at and how Skeletor, tells the story of building Snake Mountain with him, it's like, okay, these things are so freaking powerful. It's like, why wouldn't we have known about them earlier? It seemed rushed. Something just felt, the whole episode felt off. I mean, I love, again, Zodak myself. I always loved him showing up. This episode, not much to him. Xanthor, like you said, yes, other cosmic enforcers. Some people wouldn't like it, some might. And I can understand why Curtis would like it. I mean, it is cool, but I just remembered as a kid, I just never got into the episode. Everything just felt strange, including when we get to Snake Mountain, we get to the part, I'll mention it. Just there's things I'm like, now? And what? I don't know. I questioned so much as a kid, and it always stuck with me. So I'm not trying to be a downer.
I will say this. I think Xanthor would have been written better if he was turned human with no powers. To be an actual human being. If you screw this up, you go back to being the Phantom. I mean, we kick your ass. But to make him human, give him no powers, and really play up the fact, okay, now you've got all your morals. You got everything a human being would have. We're going to see if you are just as tempted to realign with Skeletor or turn on He-Man or take the disc and run off on your, like, I think really playing up how vulnerable he is as a man and the temptations of being immortal.
I guess that's why they left it. Then at the end, like where he's still in his phantom form and Skeletor promises, oh, you give me the disc back, I'll give you that human form. So it's like
that whole discussion meant nothing. After he's already been told, even Skeletor doesn't know that, like, Skeletor, I've already been offered the chance to go back to normal. Like, that's why I felt like they should give Skeletor more to work with. Well, and the show, a lot of times, does not have continuity. There is a lot of continuity errors, which is why there's so many artifacts that are almighty powerful, which really Grayskull should be the definitive source. Even above the Star Seed, the Golden Discs, pick your poison, whatever your favorite artifact is in Master of the Universe and She-Ra. Like Grayskull should be it's the source of She-Ra's power, the source of He-Man's power. Between the two series, there should be nothing between the two shows that is more powerful than Castle Grayskull itself. I mean, you cannot argue that. Have artifacts that have great power and so on and so forth, great weapons, but they should not be built up to supersede Grayskull's purpose on the show.
And the senses of, again, not being an ass, but senses of cats and animals, they know usually intentions of people. And you have not only just a normal cat, you have Battle Cat, somebody that's imbued with the power of Castle Grayskull. You figure his senses would be a little better of knowing Xanthor's intentions. So that was just another annoying thing for me. It's like, Battle Cat won't let up either of just not trusting things. Oh, you put me in this in 2 traps when you'll say that later. It's like, really? It's like he didn't do that, but... again, we'll get to the part, and you'll see what I'm talking about when we get to the part with these discs here. The things that made me think, what the hell?
You guys want to throw me a timestamp real quick? Let me know where we're at.
We're at 11:22.
Okay.
Yep, we're pretty much right on par. Curtis is going to unfriend me now on Facebook. Sorry, Curtis. Love you, man. Hey, you found out they're fakes. And it's like, well, why would they be fakes? And like, oh, well, Skeletor, there's somewhere else. But then that's the thing. It's like Skeletor is already. He knew that, oh, it's here, and here's a trap. I'm like, but how and when and what? It's like everything was just so damn convenient. It's almost like he felt like, oh, we knew you were coming, and here we go, and I'm going to trap you. I don't know.
And
why does this
talk
so much? Because
I was just going to say, Grim2 has a point that he says cats aren't clairvoyant. I think dogs read people better, Joe, so...
Oh, okay, thanks. Well, I know when I had a cat a long time ago, little fucker, he knew when I was upset or angry. I mean, son of a bitch, plus, how many cats talk, Grim? I'm going to choke him. I'm going to punch him right in the fucking throat. Sorry, Grim.
Wow.
God damn, it's a magical cat that talks. Oh, sorry. Back to you, Tyler.
But no, I really feel like I think the whole ploy of having fake discs should have been swapped for the actual real discs. Because the items itself, too, like saying that Skeletor used this stuff to kind of benefit himself, I kind of felt like there's statements that kind of overhype something that really doesn't pay off that much. Like, do none of the discs help Skeletor build Snake Mountain? I don't also buy the fact that the Horde resided in Snake Mountain either. So there are certain things in Filmation I'm like, I don't subscribe to those.
Well, I mean, that's
ideas.
probably why when we read it in the trivia, things like these are mentioned and then ultimately kind of just forgotten about or kind of pushed.
Well, and that's what happens in a lot of these shows.
Yeah.
A lot of these items are hyped up, and you like what you like, and but it just kind of, for Skeletor to hold on to something that's so sacred and no one else bothered to take it from it. I mean, now obviously we're being a little too tough in terms of like pointing out certain things, but an item that is hyped up by the dialogue and what we're given here is just stuff that I can't help but notice, as I'm sure people will point out plot holes in various other episodes as well. But
I mean,
that's kind of why I've always.
I get it from like, all right, let's go into the standpoint of as a kid you're watching.
Skeletor's scared as these fucking things.
That's something I gotta call foul on as well. He's in Snake Mountain, the most frightening place on the planet. Like, I gotta call foul on that one there.
Fuck, it's my weakness.
Which they did the same thing in The Secret of Grayskull too, where they got Skeletor, Cobra Khan, Clawful, and Traptor all scared to death of ghouls and ghosts in Castle Grayskull. Which I'm like, I don't buy that either. And
I was going to say, I get seeing, like, if you're watching it as a kid, how we are 14 minutes into this thing, and action-wise, there's not a whole lot going on right now, that it could be sort of boring to a kid.
And there were some episodes that, and Joe's already said it, there are certain episodes for me as a kid I didn't enjoy as much. There's some that I grew to love as an adult, some I'm still kind of indifferent to. And some I've loved as a kid and still love as an adult. So it's a mixed bag of emotions on a lot of episodes, but it just kind of depends on what you've taken a like Negator, I thought sucked as a kid. I love the character now as an adult. But this is what I really wish that Xanthor was mortal. And maybe a bit of a sorceress or something like that, which is why he was given the duty of guarding the Golden Disc. Because we're not, I kind of feel like that his gift of mortality could be easily taken away from him. This is all about testing. Like, he's given his powers back. Are you really going to use your powers for good and get the Golden Disc back? Are you going to take on Skeletor? Or like, I just felt like there's so much you could play with the character. And there was the claw arm. We just passed it.
I guess Joe's falling asleep over there now. Kind of like I was doing when I was watching SummerSlam before I came in to do the show.
Oh. I guess the figures look cool. I mean, if anything, Curtis, seeing other, Cosmic Forcers as figures is cool. I don't know, man. I hated being so down on this episode.
Why?
And then when Skeletor, eventually you're going to see him pop up here after, of course, He-Man knows, hey, this might be the marker. And then he starts smashing to go down and down. But when Skeletor does what you're going to see in a little bit, at one point, I think, okay, what happened? Where did Skeletor go? But then he's going to pop up somewhere else. But I don't know the whole thing. You're going to find out why it's called Snake Mountain. And I don't know. Just... Nathan, go ahead, because I don't want to sound like a downer, goddammit. But...
Why?
But
that's a good thing, though. Like, it's a good thing to actually have that perspective from Joe every once in a while. Joe, you can't just... like everything. Like, if you don't...
Joe just can't be the lovable teddy bear that everybody comes to because he's going to like everything, Whereas, it's... I feel like there's things that can be improved on this episode to make it better. Like, yeah, I do feel like in Snake Mountain, just like the how it's portrayed in Golden Books, where the snake on Snake Mountain is actually alive. Like, I think Snake Mountain should have a large snake in there somewhere. Of course, this is not a giant snake. It's like the same kind of like fish serpent that we see in multiple episodes. But I'm fine with Skeletor having a massive snake that he probably feeds, prisoners to or something like that. But Snake Mountain, I'd say it's a throwaway line why it was named that way. I'd say more or less because it's frightening as hell.
Yeah, because, when Skeletor's, there, and there's the disc, but he brings the snake up, I thought Skeletor would have been guarding by the discs, but just nobody was there. Then, of course, Xanthor gets him, but then that leads to the whole thing here, the deal. If you do this for me, I'll give you this. But you see Xanthor is trying to do the right thing, which is good. Like I said, the moral of the story I did like, because I always believe you should give people a second chance. Just if somebody did something bad, you hope they do it right. But like how He-Man runs at home at the end. But if they keep doing it, maybe it's somebody you don't want to be around. Like he's trying to say, there might be a bad crowd, there might be really bad eggs out there. But otherwise, it's nice to give people a second chance. But just something was really like you
this
said.
Whole sequence here, this should be strictly between Xanthor and Skeletor. He-Man, Battlecat, Orko, they should be still fighting the evil warriors somewhere else. Like they get lost. Xanthor knows where they're at because he's in Phantom. He knows where they're hidden at. This whole sequence should just be nothing but temptation on his part. Like Skeletor playing up the fact that, I can do more for you. I can provide you with more power. Give me the disc. You and I will roll it out. Like there's so much more you could play around with.
No, they could. I think that, like how you seen how He-Man grabbed Orko's mouth. Like, hey, Xanthor's got to do it on his own. Like, again, that was probably them, putting forward the message and moral. Again, if you're going to do something, it's got to be within your heart to do the right thing. So that's probably their way of making him say it so we could hear. But otherwise, I know what you're saying, but I think they had to slam that moral into our face a little more. But of course, at the end, he basically says everything we just thought. So, I mean, I like that, yes, he did the right thing then, and then is honored now, Zodak, with now knowing there's a lot of evil throughout the cosmos. He's going to need somebody to assist him. And then, Xanthor becomes a cosmic enforcer with him. I mean, it's cool, at least towards the end. Just, I wanted more. There was, especially when I always loved Zodak so much, I wish he had a big prominent role, but I know they wanted to focus on this character in this story. Just, there was a lot of things that were off. It's like we said, it could have been better. I give it a 3. I just, I don't know. As a kid, I was always so disappointed when the episode came on. I remembered I think I changed the channel.
I mean,
there were certain shows I watched as a kid that I would see that title card or recognize. I'm like, oh man, it's that episode. Like, damn it.
Well, yeah. I mean, we'll get this here in a second, and you can kind of see Orko going off like Joe does sometimes, just mile a minute with his words.
Right. Well, there's another cosmic enforcer. Cool action figure. Yeah. Just taking a drink.
I don't know. I'm kind of with the people on this one. I like the idea of there being more than one. I don't want it to be like oversaturated. We don't need like VK Wall Street over here being a cosmic enforcer, but like I like the idea that there can be more than one. Yeah, there we go. Here's Joe throwing a fit. And then he knocks
so like
his
I said, it
tablet
does
over. Motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly. And again, good moral. I mean, that's the only thing I could say about the episode. Yes, it was a good moral.
And it was used again in Betrayal of Stratos, which was also written by David Weiss, who wrote the teleplay for this episode. Coincidence? I think not.
He loved those damn morals. So, yes, that's it. So, Curtis, again, no, really, thank you for suggesting that. Like I said, if you guys give us suggestions on anything, whether it's a commentary or a mini comic or a character you'd ever want to hear us talk about, go ahead. It's not like we're going to rip them all to pieces. Just, it's honest opinions. That's mine. I wasn't a super fan, but it was still nice to at least discuss that episode, which I gave a 3 out of 10.
Tyler, what would be your ranking?
Tyler?
I'd probably give it a 4.
Damn.
I'll go higher than Joe, because I feel like there are some redeemable things in the show. It's not an episode I revisit on my own, but it's not by no means a horrible episode. And I probably
Tyler, Curtis finally jumped in because he was waiting the whole time for us to finish. He said,
"Okay."
Once when I was 5 years old, my brother let me hang out with him and his friends. I was so happy, and then he told me Santa Claus wasn't real. Today is kind of like that. Sorry.
We have just overhyped our heel stand even more so than last week. We have been linked to being as bad as revealing the whole Santa Claus debacle. Like, my God, people, Hulk Hogan in his prime in NWO could not be more heel than we are right now here. Like,
Curtis,
God.
did you give us the thumbs down?
Wow.
This is great.
Man, Nathan, if we had the NWO theme, that now would be the time to play.
So we can go ahead and get a copyright strike from World
Oh,
Wrestling
yeah, and I can
Entertainment.
start playing guitar here on my power sword and everything.
Hey, I mean,
dude.
I can just do a shitty version of it, and you can pretend to play. I'll be like,
yeah, I can say, I am God, Just like
that's
Hogan.
great.
you know what? I'm gonna. James gave this a 7 out of 10. I'll kind of give I'll kind of meet in the middle a little bit between you guys.
He's gonna give it a 5.
I'm gonna give it. I'd give it either a 5 or a 6. Now.
You're struggling with that
Hang
rating.
on.
I know you are, Nathan, because I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to show up me and him
I'm
here
not.
with that rating. I know.
My honest opinion on it is the ending of it, of course, was a little lackluster. There wasn't a lot of action. So looking at it from the standpoint of watching it as a kid, as I said before, it would seem kind of boring because it is very dialogue heavy. Now, I like the idea behind it. I know you guys kind of get stuck on the discs and what they mean and things that they dropped here and there, but I just as a whole, I think the story is promising, but just between the ending and there not being enough action in it, I think a 5 out of 10 or a 6 out of 10 is more than fair because it's sort of a middle ground.
I mean, yeah, I can't argue that it's essentially an average episode. It's not offensive, but it's also not something that I think a lot of fans can walk away from and be and then it leaves a mark on them of okay, that's part of the mythology.
Yeah.
When I think Master of the Universe, and Curtis, I'm sorry about Santa Claus, but I warned you last week. I wasn't a big fan of it. So if you were expecting anything else, but I also purposely did not, felt the need to be really ugly about it, because honestly, I don't have a reason to be super ugly about this episode. It's not like watching some of the really bad episodes that are. It's not like watching The Island. I will go ahead and say,
I've actually watched that, so I can actually get it. Yes, it's not like watching.
Yes,
it's not like watching The Island. I like the idea behind it. The idea behind it's good. It's just the execution was just kind of, it was just there. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great, but like you said, it's not something like other episodes that we've watched. If there was a Xanthor figure, in his phantom form, I don't think after watching that, it's not something I would want to, immediately go look for the classics, like I've done with some of the others. It doesn't leave much of an impression, but it's not horrible. I enjoy it for what it is. But
and that's what I said. The episode, you could reboot this episode and give it more, and still do it within the time frame that we're given. I feel it could be redone a little bit, do a little cutting here and amping up, and really make it a good morality tale and people walk away from it, even more. I mean, hell, James, I'm sure could work. Well, if James already thought it was that good, then he probably wouldn't work with it. I can make it a 10.
I'm gonna
10.
lock it in as a 6. I'm gonna give it that mark because I think
all right, I'll go and give it. Well, no, I'm
the story
because
has enough potential that it locks in a 6 for me. I enjoyed it for what it was.
Okay, and I still stick with the 3. And Curtis, even though it's not the Q&A part, your question is quickly pertaining to this. He said, "So, can you answer who are the Council of Wise and the Overlords of the Eternal Dimension?" Well, the thing is, I don't know, and this is where, well, maybe Grimbot or somebody could pop in. I know that early on, and especially when they had some of the early literature, like some of the books and shit I have, it said Zodak led the Council of Elders in the Hall of Wisdom before it became Castle Grayskull. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that was a way of them kind of like doing their mixing, if they were trying to say that was kind of like the Council of Elders, or this was a completely different council. I'll be honest, I didn't know how it was in the Filmation cartoon, if it was ever really stated, but I mean, I thought that was the first time I really heard of the Council of the Wise. Were they mentioned more, Tyler, than this episode?
Honestly, those kind of things were mentioned in the Bible that Michael Halpin wrote to kind of give people an idea of what they need to follow, and then after, because but
did they always say wise, or was it elders? Because I always know they said
Council of Elders. Yeah.
So that's what
these I just kind of felt like it was written. Maybe their intention was it's the Council of Elders, and maybe in this episode the intention was it's another group. Because it's an ever expanding world and Master of the Universe. That's why it's important to know that there's a lot of characters out there that they're not just a bunch of the same damn thing all over the place. So, like, if your own mythology, if you like the idea of like multiple cosmic enforcers, there's a Council of Wise, there's a Council of Elders. Like the Elders may supersede the Wise because the Wise are focusing on nothing but knowledge.
And for anybody that might, it didn't mean to interrupt you because I was going to say really quick, for anybody that might wonder what the hell am I talking about, I'm going to send Nathan a picture that I'll have him upload here, hopefully in a minute, to give context of what I'm saying about Zodak being the leader of the Council of Elders in early stuff. So, but you continue, Tyler. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying that there's always a bit of what's the word, contradictory. Or contradiction, excuse me. And with a lot of the episodes, there's minor bits of continuity here and there, but for the most part, it's kind of like, as long as the writers kept the backbone of the mythology, I think they were pretty much just kind of given it. Because I mean, there's so many people that were ancient, enemies of Grayskull that were imprisoned in this, imprisoned in that kind of thing. Some are memorable, some are not. But I think it was just not necessarily something that was specific. I think it was just how this episode was written. But I dare say, if you want like the idea of multiple councils, I say go for it. If you like the idea of cosmic enforcers, like a legion of or league of them, and they all have answer to Zodak or the answer to a higher power than that, you can buy in. Just like how we don't buy into Horde Prime. If you like Horde answering to somebody else, it's definitely a great kind of mix and match with Master of the Universe. That's why I always refer to Master of the Universe as like the choose your own adventure books that were written in the 80s or 70s or whenever the hell they were published, where you can kind of pick and choose the direction you want to go in. You can do that with this. If you want Cobra Khan to be a Snake Man and only Snake Man, you can do that.
Sure.
And this episode just kind of provides more of those options. So it's not us. Curtis, I'm sorry if we obviously disappointed you greatly, and I'm sure you might lose sleep tonight. But the intention was not to be ugly or harmful to you about the episode. But
as ugly as I may have sounded, it wasn't. Love you, Curtis, man. Like I said,
but look, we can't apologize for how we feel in here because that's not the point of this podcast. I've made a career on this podcast of people hating me because I am so vocal about my stuff, about my thoughts and opinions on the mythology. I
wouldn't say
if Curtis has suggested doing the Star Child, I would not have been as nice. Or Greatest Show on Eternia, or It's another shit episode. I try not to think about too many of them. Or Temple
just
of the
to say,
Sun.
Tyler,
Temple
they-
of the Sun. Oh
Yeah.
God, you know.
Nobody hates you. It's just passion. Like I said, there's things we like, we don't like, and like I said, with this one, it just wasn't a favor. But there, Nathan popped up for the screen for everybody to see. Because, like you said, a lot of that stuff that was in the series Bible that didn't make it into the cartoon made it into a lot of the Golden Book literature, coloring books.
Yes, like T.E. Scope, Biff, Beastman, and Evelyn Powers
with the-
being, you
yeah.
know.
New Champions of Eternia. Yeah, so a lot of that stuff did make it in other literature, but I just want to give context to that. But
Yeah.
well, I guess now we'll move on to Rattlor, and then you guys can hit us with all all the questions you want, and we'll be real honest. Maybe we'll piss you off. Maybe we'll get the dislikes up to match the likes on this episode.
Well, I've also got my list of 10 questions for you guys too to throw in here also.
Yeah, right after Rattlor, you could do that.
Yeah, Rattlor, man. Like, Tyler picked this character, and I'll ask him why in a second. And I just want to say straight up, everything that I try to consume with this character, I'm like, he's just there. He doesn't do much. I watched a couple episodes of She-Ra, and he's just there, and he doesn't do anything. I watched an episode of 2000X. What was it? I'm gonna have to scan the episode list that you gave me here.
Well, before that,
Yes.
Nathan, really quick, before talking about all that stuff, if you were to have had the figure, because that's probably our first experience to enjoying,
Mhm.
what would
That
you
was
have thought as was mine too. I love the damn figure. I love the rattle sound, the gimmick of the head popping.
The figure's fantastic. I meant to actually go and grab mine from upstairs and bring it down here. Tyler, is yours pretty accessible on the shelf? Or is he kind of...
Yes, we're actually
Yeah,
right here.
go ahead and grab him. We can show him off. You can...
Ah, shit. I got his tail wrapped around screws. So it fall off the shelf, damn it!
There you go. Oh, he had a Joe moment. Oh, first ever for Tyler.
Everybody
Joe
okay?
God.
He better not broke. He's like, God damn you, Nathan! I just
It's like
broke all
playing
my
cards with
fucking...
my brother's
Hey,
kids.
it worked. Hey,
Sons of
this
bitches.
is an awesome moment for the show. Is everybody all right, though? Nothing broken?
Yes, nothing
Okay.
broken. Fortunately, just Shadow Weaver, the Super 7 version, and Squeeze, who's sturdy, and Grizzlor, who's sturdy. They're the only ones that fell off the
Okay.
shelf, so easily. But this Rattler is the one I had since childhood, since around the time my brother was born, or right before. That's when I really got the Snake Man. Was right around the time my brother was born.
And you can actually...
And this is the same one I bought at Hills.
Is he a redneck? Okay.
Yellow
Yeah,
neck.
mine's not either. Mine's just like yours. I never even knew about a redneck until I got online. I was like, what?
I didn't know
So-
about rednecks till Jeff Foxworthy came along.
But no, I loved the damn figure. I mean, I got such a kick out of it. Even though, like I said, Snakeface is my favorite Snakeman of all of them. But as for the gimmicks, I just got such a damn kick out of that. I just love blasting back the figures. But I agree with you, Nathan. I mean, he has his appearances in the comics and books, cartoons, and like, okay, for like one, like, the Battle Under Snake Mountain or one, I think that was
That's
Battle
a
Under
very, very forgettable book.
that was just, it was like, just not much going on. I mean, he looked pretty damn cool. It was like, And of course, Snake Attack, it's like, all right. He felt like, to me, it was like he was kind of second in command to Tongue Lasher. Tongue Lasher felt like he was leading the way. And, he did some things where at least he was like getting the best of He-Man at one point, holding for Tongue Lasher to turn him into the, stone or whatever the fuck he did to him, just to coat him in that shit to freeze him. But in the cartoons, Filmation, it was in MYP. I was like, all right, he's a gentler. It feels like he's a little more imposing, taking leads, but
he still doesn't
I mean, I
do
guess,
that
yes.
much. I watched Rattle of the Snake, and I'm like, all right, well, he's imprisoned.
I like his portrayal better in MYP, I'll be honest.
But I was just kind of bummed out because I was wanting to see more of this character doing things, and just the bit that I consumed, and I didn't get around to all of it, so maybe I did miss something along the way, but I was just kind of bummed out. I was like, this very underutilized character from what I've gathered so
Now,
far.
was that the only MYP episode you
Yeah, that was
watched?
the only one I checked out, yes.
There's your
All right.
mistake. The Snake Pit, which is the episode that introduces him, Cobra Khan, and Zodak. Like, Rattler's got a much more prominent, not that it's a massive fight, but, he's fighting Zodak one-on-one. He's fighting Tila one-on-one. I love his voice in Snake Pit. Like, that's my favorite, portrayal of Rattler is in that episode. His voice is perfect. He's very menacing. Like, when he's, striking his head at Zodak and Tila, I just thought, it's really cool. Like they're trying to squeeze in a whole bunch of stuff and then hands it King Hiss. But and then Rise of the Snake Men, as we all know, one of the greatest, like it's the biggest build up, and then it's just like it's like a really bad hand job or something like that. Just it's like oh it's building. Wait, why'd you pull your hand away? Oh no, man. Oh, that sucked, man.
Those assholes taped over the game.
Like basketball there for you. Yeah. So but Rattler, I will say, was and honestly, all the Snake Men, they were all perceived as not simpletons, not morons in MYP. I just don't feel like a lot of times they were given the best stories.
Well, if we were to take MYP completely out of the equation, then I feel with Rattler you don't really have much of anything.
I love Snake Attack, and Joe and I have kind of touched on this before on a few occasions, but Rattler was mute in Snake Attack, and I would love if he was portrayed like that constantly as a mute character that you only know he's there before he strikes because his tail rattles. And as we all know, I'm sure a lot of people that snakes scared the shit out of me. I saw one in the lake yesterday. Had to get my brother and my nephew out of the water, hoping that God was going to come
I thought
at
you
us.
were going to do a thing like what was it? The thing that you did? Didn't you do something before where you ran away from, was it a dog or something, and you left your brother behind?
Oh yeah, when we were kids. Yeah.
I thought you were going to say another thing like that.
I
saw a snake, and then I just pushed my brother on the ground so the snake could get him, and I just took off. I thought that's where that was going.
No, as a kid I probably would have done that, but not as an adult. But I like snakes scare us all, and rattlesnakes especially. Like you hear that rattling before they strike. Like you see that in Snake Attack.
And they make mention of that. Yeah, I like that.
Oh, and I just thought, as a kid, that was my essential portrayal of Rattlor because I didn't get to see him in the She-Ra cartoon until I was a teenager or a little bit older. So that's all I really had to go on, other than a few other mini comic appearances and stuff. And he speaks in King of the Snake Men, but his portrayal, because that's the mini comic he came with Snake Attack. That was the one that Tongue Lasher and Rattler came with. It was a very prominent portrayal. Like Tongue Lasher, if he's going to speak, why not make him a bragging asshole, the braggart that Skeletor calls him, the guy that's just is so eager to appease King Hiss that he can kick He-Man's ass, and Rattler's there just because they're buddies. They're a tag team. They work
at least
together.
Rattler's getting something done. Like I said, first, it's a very memorable, comic cover for Snake Attack. I mean, it's really striking.
Absolutely.
Love it. Yeah, and then when he does, like I said, get He-Man in that issue, it's like he is doing something. It's not bumbling. He doesn't feel like
and that one panel shot that Bruce
either.
Timm did where He-Man hears the rattling and it's like there's a dark shadow over He-Man's face and then grabs him.
Gotcha.
I mean, it's so beautifully illustrated. And I really wish Rattler was portrayed like that, much like how Beastman was mute in the live-action movie. Same thing with Sora. Like, having mute villains, it's one less thing to worry about finding dialogue for, but it maintains their stature as a legitimate badass.
Well, especially when you have a thing with Rattler, as you said, that like he doesn't have to speak. Like, he's got that to speak more for him, like the rattling.
Yeah,
that makes...
That fear tactic of like... One of my favorite cards, and Rattler's unfortunately is very piss poor, but one of my favorite ones is the one with Tongue Lasher and Cyclone is walking through the marsh up waist deep, and Tongue Lasher's like creeping through the marsh, get ready to strike with his tongue. Like, imagine being out there and you hear a rattlesnake out there, or even attacking Rio Blast, because rattlesnake's out in the desert or something like that. Like Rio Blast being, ambushed by Rattler from behind a rock as you hear the rattling. It's damn it, man.
I'm not
hired to write any more of this shit.
I'm not afraid of snakes, by the way. I
am.
Say that.
Wholeheartedly.
I actually have. I'll go ahead and pop this picture up here too, while you guys continue to talk. And I want to apologize because I feel like I've sort of dropped the ball on the Rattler thing because I didn't check out. I didn't mass consume everything like I probably should have.
You can't. There's too much damn shit.
Then we can kind of like fill in the gaps, which I think that works out just fine.
But
when you speak in Tyler and Rattlor's like, first you said Tongue Lasher's card art, which I did love, but Rattlor's, I remember as a kid and even now, I always hated it because the perspective of how his head was striking looked, it's so awkward.
Very off.
I don't like
and it wasn't Errol McCarthy doing the artwork. It was It was the guy who did, I think, the Snout Spout artwork, because the look is very
You
similar.
could tell
and
differences on some.
Yeah, and the perspective is off on Snout Spouts also. I think it's not very good.
One of my least favorites, is Rattlor's card back art. We'll have to do that sometime. Maybe some of our favorites and least favorite card back
because
cards.
there's more. Most of them are really good. There's very few bad ones. But Nathan had mentioned something to what we were talking earlier this week about that Rattler, like he's a member of the Horde. I said King of the Snake Man, bridges that gap, and I like that. So you can almost like watch the She-Ra cartoon first, go back and read King of the Snake Man from in there on it, and it kind of ties Filmation, He-Man, She-Ra, and then into the mini comics all together. So that way you do have a bit of continuity, because I feel like there are certain times where they do follow what was essentially portrayed. And I like the idea because if you look at the like some of the concept drawings for like Tongue Lasher, he was portrayed as a Horde character, which is why he looks the way he does in the She-Ra series, and looks completely different in toy form and mini comic form. But yeah, it's like as soon as they're brought out of the pit in Snake Mountain, like Cobra Khan's like, your spells aren't working. These are the Snake Men that work for the Horde. And King dresses them down for like, well, we had no place to go. Like Horde gave us work. So I like that. I like the fact that Cobra Khan even knew who they were. And almost it'd been awesome if we got to see in earlier Horde comics, Tongue Lasher and Rattlor like attacking Grayskull like in Horde Act, the Ruthless Leader's Revenge. Like, how awesome would that have been to see those two Snake Men running alongside with Montana, Leech, and Grizzlor? Like, oh, man.
Yeah, Snake Attack is about
this here, people.
Yeah. Snake Attack, I mean, he had more of an impact and better performance in that than he did in the, 6, 7 episodes of
She-Ra. Yeah, he was the ultimate battleground, just generic throwaway henchman. Revenge of the Snake Men, generic throwaway henchman. King of the Snake Man is all right in that one, but Snake Attack, that's his most shining moment. Snake Pit, I think, is his best episode. Overall, like, he's got some good moments. Like Rattle the Snake, I kind of like the idea of him building up a bit of a feud with Cobra Khan because they're kind of working together when the Snake Men are introduced. So you kind of have that kind of.
God, you got me thinking now of horrible card back art. I can't get that out of my head after doing that. I'm thinking about
it's a shitty card art. I mean, yeah.
That would because I've seen stuff on other like YouTube channels, specifically like Cultaholic when it comes to wrestling stuff. They do tier lists where it like has A, B, C, D, F, or you can do it however you want. Like, maybe we could do that with the card back art. Find a way to finagle that, get all of them, and then I can put it in a tier list.
We should do that maybe in the next week's whenever our next episode is. We could do some about card back art. But yeah, pretty much that.
Yeah, we could do it. And I'll kind of discuss about that when we get into the questions. I popped up that picture of me holding a snake. That was from Woods of Terror. That was like a haunted.
Oh, I got to see it. Hasn't come yet. I got that 30-second delay.
No, I did hold on to a snake too as a kid, but I wasn't as I don't know. I've just snakes in general. I just find them quite frightening. I've seen a few out in the wild. One almost attacked a dog.
Yeah.
So I was not. That's where you go.
Oh, Joe, I had already put it up and then like taken it down because Fedmon was like, Jake the snake.
Oh,
Jake
shit.
the snake looks like he's only has 6 months to live. Oh wait, that's Nathan. Ha ha ha.
Okay.
He's got a million of them.
So Rattlor, I mean, yes, he is a great character. His portrayals weren't maybe the best in some canons, some pretty decent. So yeah,
lots of room for improvement. Much
Definitely,
like Golden Disc of Knowledge, lots of room for improvement.
Lots of improvement. So now I'm going to pass it to Tyler. He's going to do something. He was talking about. You say it, Tyler, because I know nothing what's going on. But go ahead.
I just put together a random. This was kind of like spur of the moment. 10 questions about your all's personalities regarding He-Man, and it's a quick like rapid fire. Like they're just things about your personality with He-Man. And Nathan, if you don't have one, you can throw in another property that kind of fits the bill. If you don't have one that follows along with He-Man like exclusively. Okay. Like the first question is for you guys as fans, the most exciting Master of the Universe moment, whether it was getting a toy, seeing an episode. The most exciting moment that comes to mind regarding Master of the Universe for you personally, from childhood, adulthood, could be any time, could be anything. But what is the most exciting moment you could think of?
almost have two that just go together, and it's both pertaining to my parents. One was just the excitement of Eternia, because I remember it was snowing. It was real bad.
Well, you don't have to get long-winded, Joe. We just kind of rapid fire there.
Rapid fire, real quick. All right, I had to get the boots real quick.
Let him tell his story.
No, but I talked 100 miles an hour anyways. It was freezing outside. It was snowing. I had to go outside to get something, but I didn't have my boots. I just had my shoes. So I told my mom I'm going to go into the closet. She's like, don't open the door. And I opened the door. Bam, the Eternia set was there. I lost my shit. But that was what I got for that Christmas. And it led to a sad story about, other things that I got and just whatever. But, either way, it was a great moment. And then something else. But nothing bad. Nobody passed away. Nothing sickness. I can do that another time. And then my dad, when he said he was going to the casino in Canada, and I said, hey, Toys R Us in Canada is supposed to have the new 2000 X figures before the US. Could you go look and see if they have them? He's like, sure. And he got back at like 1 o'clock in the morning. He came in, he was like, sorry, Joe, nothing. They didn't have. He's like, oh man. I was like, well, that's all right. Then I woke up to go to work the next morning, and bam, sitting on the kitchen table is all the 2000 figures or 2000 X figures that came out in that wave. So those are just two moments that stuck with me because they're just memorable. That's all.
That's what I was going for.
Mine vary a lot because, as you guys know, this wasn't like my primary like go-to toy. Most of the vintage Masters toys that I had as a kid were hand-me-downs or stuff we bought at yard sales. I was aware of it, watched the cartoon, but there weren't a lot of like really exciting memories as a kid. So I think most of that came later on. I would have to say seeing the intro for 2000X when it premiered, seeing those figures on the shelf for the first time kind of gave me that cool feeling. And I guess I would toss it out there too because I didn't really think about that property much. So in high school, when I went to Tyler's for that first time and he was so afraid to actually see all that stuff on display and like remember it, it brought back those memories of having some of that stuff as a kid. I would kind of that would probably be like my most memorable thing was to see that there. It was kind of like reconnecting with a piece of your childhood. And here we are now, all these years later.
Excellent. All right, we'll move on to number 2. Is your most underwhelming Masters of the Universe moment?
Doing this fucking episode talking about Golden Disc.
There you go, people. All right, Nathan, what's yours?
Shit, man. I don't really have anything that was just super disappointing. Honestly, there's nothing that was just like a complete and total bummer to me about this so far.
See, I would have said the Power of Grayskull for MYP. Because when you read the synopsis, it was like, we're going to find out the history of Grayskull, and then it's a shitty King Grayskull. And you're like, shit, man. Like, it was just, that or the Thunder King He-Man crossover. Like, those are the first two that came to mind for something like that. So, something that you just felt like that was just it was not worth what you thought it could be. Like, you could have been getting a figure as a kid. It could have been seeing an episode. I mean, like, seeing Too Bad for the first time. That was another underwhelming.
Maybe it was just all those times that you and I would go into Walmart and just see variants all the time.
And see nothing but Spin Blade and Smash Blade.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good one. All right. The most expensive item you ever purchased that was Master of the Universe related.
Let me look over here at this classic shelf real quick.
Well, I mean, all the vintage stuff was purchased. My parents purchased all the vintage, so I'm trying to think about maybe Megator. That was when I had money, and I was lucky enough to still get them for a decent price, around $500. But yeah, I think Megator at maybe $500. I think.
Okay.
Mine would be probably those pieces of the Eternia playset that I got for you, actually.
I'm proud to be a part of that.
Either
cool. Like
that or it would be what's the I'm looking to see which classics figure I paid the most for. And I honestly can't remember now because it's been the prices on those things. They've all pretty much been like those average for me. Those were averaging anywhere between like $40 to $75. I don't want to talk about it anymore. That's there. I want to. Can I go back and change my most disappointing moment? It was
Sure.
These are rapid fire.
pulling the
Go ahead,
trigger
go
on
ahead.
some of those and just having that sinking feeling in my stomach that I can't believe I just did that. So, yeah.
I gotcha.
Wait,
All right, question
Jason
4.
Havoc, why did you pay $50 for Tuscador? He was still on Big Bad Toy Store when I got him like a couple months ago. You could have got him for.
Hey, you must have went to eBay or
Could
something.
have got him for like $25. All right, go ahead.
All right, the most inexpensive item you've ever purchased that was He-Man related. The cheapest deal you ever got on something you were quite proud of.
Tyler giving me Classics Faker for free.
Oh, yeah.
God, I'm just trying to think of the cheapest, and I'm trying to do this rapid fire, but God,
It's okay if you got to think. That's fine. No, I expect you guys to think a little bit. Like, that's why I didn't tell you guys in advance.
Oh, did I get a deal? Yeah, I mean, I got free shit too, but I'm not going to say anything about free.
Well, no, if it's free, I mean, it's something that you're very proud of, that you got the best deal on, whether it's free or not.
Well, hell, somebody, and I still don't know who it is, who sent me that Mondo He-Man, it's awesome. Those things are way out of my price range to afford now, and just having them in hand and in person. I mean, they got so many different accessories and interchangeable hands and details. So, the Mondo He-Man, yeah.
Okay. The biggest misfire, the biggest, like, man, that was it? Like, that's it? Like, the figure you got, you couldn't wait to get it. This figure sucks, or this episode, it's going to be great. Man, it sucks balls.
Oh, when it came to misfires, a lot. I mean, we won't get into the comics because I'll lose my shit. But no, when it came to
I guess what I say is the biggest missed opportunity, like that you just kind of felt like this could have been so good, and it wasn't.
Well, I mean, no, I can't say two. I was going to say, well, the one I didn't know about an opportunity is, like I said, when I walked into the store as a kid expecting to get more Masters of the Universe, when I'm waiting for, Titus, Megator, Giganosaur, and Hero, and all them figures, and I walk in and I see New Adventures, and I'm like, what the hell is this? I remember seeing He-Man, but I was like, this isn't He-Man to me. Like I said, I knew nothing of the cartoon. This is just me as a kid expecting one thing, and I see that, and I was like, I don't get it. So I was just pissed. But I mean, if we fast forward and we think about classics and we hear the hype of some of the great figures and characters we're going to get, and we keep hearing about an unnamed one, and we get that shit-tastic whatever fucking Trollan, I'm like, what is that? I just remember, I was like, that figure was like, it meant nothing to me. That is a big missed opportunity because it was worthless. But yeah.
That's an excellent one, Joe.
I don't want to sound too much like Bozone here, but I guess I would echo the New Adventures line, and I hope we don't have to say the same thing about the stuff coming up. Honestly, that I would throw the I don't even know where I'm going with that.
Like the Kevin Smith show, or like the new toy line, or
yeah, all of it. Does it? Like,
yeah, He-Man in the future
has potential
to
be like the big. I think it does have the potential to be the biggest misfire out of all of this, because we're all here doing this show. There's the other podcasts, Council of the First Ones, Podcasters Universe, Roast Google, all you guys here in the chat. Like, we're all here for this purpose, right? So when this comes out, if it just drops the ball, then all those things could be the biggest misfire out of this entire property. I was trying to sit there and think, because that was one that would kind of lead me towards like other properties. But then, I mean, you could say the G.I. Joe movies were a huge misfire. The Bay Turtles,
Bay Transformers. There's a shitload of them.
All
right. Next question is the biggest Master Universe moment that met expectations. That you're like, oh, this is worth the wait. They're like, oh, this is as good as I thought it would be.
Oh, believe it or not, when I was waiting in anticipation for a new cartoon and the MYP cartoon came out, and just to rush home from work, which was 30 seconds away because I worked right across the street from my house, to make it home just in time, even though I had it set to record, and just to have that feeling again that I haven't had since, my childhood, to watch a He-Man cartoon to see, will it be good? And I really enjoyed it. I mean, I was hyped for that. And I wasn't let down with watching the cartoon. So I was really excited, and yeah, I always remember that moment.
Cool.
I would say, even though ultimately I didn't end up liking it that much overall after a period of time, and this strays from Masters. I would have to say how excited I was checking out the 2003 Turtle show.
Oh yes, yeah.
Because that and Masters coming back together around the same time was like a huge deal.
That was an exciting time because G.I. Joe was on the shelf at the same time as Turtles and He-Man, and Marvel Legends was running. So like we were going shopping for action figures a lot back then.
And now I still have not seen an Origins figure, by the way. I don't know if they've shown up here. I went 4 days to Walmart this past week. 4 days in a row. I went nothing. They had some AEW figures, but I'm like, I like AEW, but I don't really want those. All right, go ahead.
Okay.
The most embarrassing Masters of the Universe moment.
Doing this show. No, I'm kidding.
God, I'm just trying to think of what.
Could it be Joe stealing, someone's Hordak or someone's She-Ra as a kid? Could it be, Nathan not knowing a certain episode or something like that? It could be anything.
You're bringing that up, but actually for me, it wasn't embarrassing because, damn it, I wanted Hordak bad, and just to steal something. I mean, I was a young kid. I didn't know any better, and I made it right years later and got her She-Ra back, but I still don't know if it was really embarrassing.
You
go ahead, Nathan, because I'm still thinking.
I'm glad that Gavin in the chat brought this up. That music video, that now everyone has that perception that, like, with the rainbows and Prince Adam and doing the laughing and everything. I would say
whoever created that son of a bitch.
I would say that's up there. Anything that's come out that kind of like treats it all like a big joke.
Mm-hmm. Which is damn near everything, from the Geico commercial to the grocery store commercial to He-Man and Skeletor playing Dirty Dancing together. Like, what the fuck?
So
all of us just making fun of He-Man and Skeletor.
I would say taking that and combining it with the times over the years as an adult going into the store. Not so much anymore, but definitely when 2000X and everything was going on, we were going toy hunting all the time. And taking something to the register and that person kind of gives you that look, like, are you buying this for yourself or do you have a kid? You look too young to have a kid kind of thing. Anything like that.
I proudly admit that. I proudly admit that's up. But I just thought of something. No, what is embarrassing is the treatment of them trying to make a movie, meaning constant for almost 18 years promise it's going to happen. Everybody believe it. Here's a script. Here's this that's going to happen, and nothing. And then the people keep thinking, oh, it's going to happen. And I keep telling everybody, calm down. It's been 18 years. Nothing's happening until you see that official trailer and it's in the theaters. Don't get excited. But the embarrassment is that constant treatment that you don't know how to write a Masters of the Universe movie. They act like this is something brand new. They don't have over 30 years of history and some continuity and some stuff to go by. You'd think they're writing something brand new. So it's an embarrassment that we haven't got this damn movie after 18 years. So I guess that's mine. It took a while. Sorry, but there it is.
No worries. And here's the last one. The most defining moment of you being a He-Man fan. Like, what do you want people to remember you as? Like, this is the most, what you want people to remember you as, like, or what
you're saying right now,
you as a He-Man fan.
What defines me is this right here, is knowing that I've met you and Nathan, and then everybody that I'm interacting with now, and that we're giving them something fun, even if it's time we shit on things for just joking with people. But either way, it's this family feel, and two great friends that I now know. I know I've never met you in person, but it's like you guys are family. And just the interaction with all the other fans, I wouldn't trade that for anything in the world. It really does mean a lot.
Cue Shuki Levy's like really emotional He-Man music at this moment when Joe's giving us this, James or Grandpa, go back and edit that piece of music. You know which one I'm talking about when Joe is giving that, Oh, it's like in Teela's Quest when Sorceress taps Teela on the forehead. Go back and put that music, or Nathan, insert that music into that. This would be great. And when Nathan gives his too.
Yeah, it's similar to that. I hate to be like Bozone again, but yeah, being a part of this show, having to, and not just this, it goes with everything beyond retro, capes, commentaries, whatever. Meeting you guys in the chat, like having people want to actually mail me stuff or send me figures or T-shirts or whatever. Like, I never thought I would be in a position where I would even be talking about Masters Universe ever, really, until they started dragging me in here a little more often. And I was like, all right, damn it, I guess I'll do it every week. But it's been a nice learning experience because I get to learn from two of the best and most knowledgeable people when it comes to this property. And by that, I mean when James is on the show or when Grim2's in the chat. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, no, it's
that's what I thought.
It's been nice. It's been wonderful, actually. It's cool to, like, I look to it the same way how when friends of mine would want to get into professional wrestling and they would start to get into it, and I would like tell them other stuff that they didn't really know, and it would kind of like work in their brains and make them like think about this differently or come up with these questions, or like I would have done this or I would have done that, and I get the same feeling doing this with you guys.
Tremendous, guys. You guys, you knocked it out of the park with it. I just thought it'd be a fun thing to do to kind of pick
I like
you guys.
those questions, Tyler. I like that. That was pretty good.
It wasn't too hard, was it, Nathan?
No, it wasn't. See, I thought when he told us this, it was actually going to be like trivia like we do for you guys, just to make me and Joe look like schmucks and Tyler to look vastly superior to us. So that's where I thought it was going. But
I do that on the rest of the time. I'd like give you guys a break anyway,
right.
And just
it was pretty cool, Tyler.
Get a little personal, guys.
I like that, man. I like that. Well, do something
I
like
hope the listeners enjoyed it too. I hope maybe that kind of inspired you to kind of think about your own personal defining moments of being.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they were counting like
were
crazy while we were doing it, but there were so many.
Cool. I can't see, so it's good to hear that.
To go back and catch up.
There's one in here that says the way Mattel distribute their figures is pretty embarrassing. So.
Oh, put that one on the wall.
Yeah.
But for you guys in the chat room right now, if you have any questions for us, whether it pertains to cartoon, mini comics, toys, anything you want, shoot them here right now. And in the meantime, Nathan, is there anything you wanted to read? Was there any questions from a past episode or something you want to say?
Yes.
While they'd be popping up theirs now.
We got plenty of comments here. We got this one 3 hours ago from Stephen Brick. I'm out on the Origins line. I'll stick to my guns trying to get a full classic set. Tyler has a point here. They do kind of look like cheaper classics knockoffs. I do like some of it, but I don't see myself recollecting a whole new line when I'm not totally blown away by it. I love Monstroid. I wish they will eventually release it in classics. Great show as always, guys. And Steven also says he can't wait to see my new setup, which I'll go ahead and give you guys a heads up on that. I guess everything's sort of got pushed back a week in terms of closing and moving, so expect an episode, I hope anyway, and I'll update if anything changes between now and then, but expect an episode next Sunday, and I'll still be here in this spot. The following week, which would be Sunday, September 6th.
God, September already.
September 6th, don't expect an episode that week, and then the following week on the 13th, we should come back if all goes well. I'll give updates. I've thought about maybe doing something weird and recording video and doing like a vlog so you can see me like setting up new displays and how I'm gonna put shit around. We'll see how it goes, but that will be the schedule. Okay. Episode next week, more than likely. No episode the following week, and then we'll return on the 13th of September. Let me read another comment here. Captain Chronic, we already mentioned that the Wizard of Stone Mountain episode, so we will do the commentary for that.
Brilliant episode.
Jason Bell on episode, it was last week's, because there were some in here that are comments from episodes in the past. Those 2000X figures sucked. Come on, y'all.
Yeah,
I
well,
love them.
yeah, and I told him, I said, if you're talking about the variant, you can get away with that, but you can't.
Sure.
I mean, the original character designs, no, I will argue to the death. on that
2000
one
X
there.
did a fantastic
Yeah.
job. All original sculpts, not
At
reduced
least the
bugs.
stacks. I mean, the two up statues and the stactions, like you cannot
The
argue.
stactions are insanely awesome. My God, the detail on those things. I mean, they're just beautiful. But you're right, variants ridiculous. But otherwise,
shit
did
show.
a hell of a job of that. Yeah, exactly.
Mega Punch, He-Man, Samurai Skeletor. Get the hell out of
Everything
here.
else was mostly just more comments. Blue-haired lawyer. Tyler's like Simon on American Idol. You needed somebody like that on the show. Somebody has to be the heel, so to speak. I always appreciate Nate and Joe's opinions, too. Nobody wants an echo chamber. As for Origins, I get where Tyler's coming from. I prefer classics, and I don't think anything can top them, but my disposable income is limited. I've never owned Ninja or Clamp Champ, so $15 Origin versions trump $80 classics from eBay, which I totally understand that.
And he's about supporting too the lesser known characters who, damn it, if I had my choice, it'd be no Man at Arms and Beastman. It'd be Clam Champ and Ninja on like current merchandise and stories. Like it was like the hell with using the same damn characters over and over again. So, Blue Hair Lawyer, you got a bright future ahead of you in this community, dude.
Well, I think we have a first question, and Adam Gabbard, good question. Tyler, Joe, and Nathan, on a scale between 1 and 10, with 0 being horrible and 10 for excellent, what would you give for the excellent work for the groups of Masters of the Universe figures from the past till now? Well, I always give my vintage a 10. I can't fucking have anything wrong with that. Yeah, definitely. When it came to New Adventures, honestly, as a kid, a fucking 0. I thought they were ridiculous. As an adult, I appreciate these sculpts. I'm like, again, it's like they did a fantastic job. It's like they had such a variety. I say about 8 or 9 because it'd be great if they had more. I wanted more of them after I started getting them. 2000X, okay, sure. Some of the poses on some characters are a little annoying. So maybe that's what would stop me from giving them a 10. I give them a 9. The Stactions, I give a fucking 10 because they're incredible. But as for the 2000X figures, I give them a 9. Classics, you're getting the best of everything. You're getting the looks. You're not getting the action features, so you could just almost say a 10 there. If you wanted to be somebody that wanted action features, you give a 9. But when it came to Origins, I'm waiting for more shit to come on later because right now I'm in pissed off mode with a lot of them. So I'm just going to bite my tongue and wait on saying anything about those. But yeah, pretty much definitely 10s on Vintage, 9 on 2000X, about 8 or a 9 on New Adventures, and a 9 or a 10 on Classics. What about you, Tyler?
10 for Vintage, 10 for New Adventures. I love the posability. I love how they look. 9 for 2000X because I love the original sculpts, and there were a couple of variants that like I always like Jungle Attack He-Man. I thought he looked really cool. He-Man with the bow, with a Rambo look.
I just hated the pose. I hated that pre-pose.
The pose
Otherwise,
sucked,
like
but the character looked awesome.
Sure,
and,
sure.
You know, I will say, yes, they were notorious for clogging the shells, but Smash Blade and Spin Blade, like you see that PowerCon print that Kevin Sharp did of those two characters, like, oh my God.
Might have helped out if we had that damn comic or something back then.
Well, yes, but I will say, of all the variants, well, and Battle Armor He-Man, or Battle Sound He-Man, which should be called Battle Armor He-Man instead of Battle Sound, those two look great. But other than that,
Ice Armor was pretty cool. I did like
Ice Armor was cool too. You know, yeah, that was. I think that was one of Kevin's. I remember he told me specifically he really liked that one.
Look at you guys.
I give it a 9.
Giving some love to the variants a little bit.
Yeah. But that shitty ones for stealth.
Because I told him. I said, I think it was like 90% of the variants were absolute shit. You know, there was a couple. Jungle Attack always comes to mind because I always thought looked cool, even though the posing was terrible. And of course, Classics is a 10. And Origins is a Classics knockoff. That is everything that Classics was, just cheaper and poorly done. So he gets a 0 because it's just repeating the same damn thing with less quality, and they want you to pay $15, $20 to $30 for something that's less in quality. So eat my ass, Mattel.
10 for Vintage, 10 for New Adventures, just because. The looks of those, I like that they were vastly different from the Vintage line. They were trying something new. It didn't click for a lot of people. Other properties were taking off, doing better at the time. Makes sense. 2000X, I would give it a higher grade, but I'll give it an 8 because the variants really killed that line for me. Classics are a 10. How can you not? As an adult who just displays these things, classics for me is the ideal line. Origins, I'll meet in the middle, give a 5. It's lazy, but the fact that at the price point that they're at, it's cheaper for a lot of people compared to classics that don't want to get into that. They have the posability that you can do more with them than you can over the vintage. I'll give it that, but the laziness of it and the quality overall seems cheaper to me than what we've had in the other lines. So I'll give it a 5.
All right. Gavin the Nerd had a random question. It said, if he was still alive, taking away the tragedy too, which Masters of the Universe character would Chris Benoit be in the Masters of the Universe WWE Universe?
Ballsy.
I mean, hey, like I
mean,
appreciate it. If someone wanted to really be a dick, they'd be Squeeze, but yeesh, sorry.
Anaconda Vice. That's
I want to say this, like I hate because I was in Alaska at the time and barely had internet access. So when I saw that, I was like, holy shit, because he was one of my favorite wrestlers. Like,
mine too.
Not a great promo, but that dude was so intense in the ring, and he actually believed everything that he was doing, and that sucks. I know there's some people that are like, I can't go back and watch his matches. If I'm watching an episode of Nitro or an old WCW pay-per-view and he comes out, I don't skip his matches, but I'm also not going to forget about what happened either, because that was like a terrible thing. So if we look at it strictly from just the standpoint of remembering who he was in the ring and everything,
you know what, for me, I have it off the top of my head because he's short and stocky, had a flying headbutt, and I think of Ram Man with like ramming forward, short, stocky, strong. I'd make him if he was to do the WWE Universe crossover, like a Ram Man type character. I know he's a great submission artist too, but I don't know. That's something I'd say just came into my head quick just because of short, stocky, strong, and, of course, that flying headbutt stuff.
I'd make him a villain because Chris was great at playing a heel. Like, I thought he was – I mean, even he was a babyface for a good portion of his WWF career and even WCW, but I thought he was a great heel. Like, when he came in with the Radicals and kind of split off and feuded with The Rock and stuff like that. Like,
which character, though, would you do as for a villain? Who would he be?
Probably –
it's kind of tough to think, isn't it? It makes you really think,
Yeah, but it probably would have to be a Snake Man. Probably Rattlor or Tongue Lasher. Probably Rattlor. And not because we did, but I just kind of think like, he was a submission specialist. Snakes submit their prey. Yeah. So Chris would have to be, oh, dude, I'll make him King Hiss.
That sounds better. I mean, I had my asshole answer based off of what happened, but.
But I like Chris Benoit's matches still. It's hard not to think about it, but it does. I
hate it.
Same thing like with wrestlers who died of drug. Like, I don't do drugs. I never have. Don't care to. But it doesn't take away the fact Mr. Perfect is by far the best person in the ring. And he had cocaine overdose, whatever. Miss Elizabeth, same thing. Like I try not to think about what people did in their personal lives, even though killing a child. Yeah. And your wife,
that kind of that
biggest ultimate sin. It is above drug overdose, yes, but
that's it over the top.
But still, I try not to think about what people did in their pastime and separate that from their work in the ring. And Benoit, I try to treat that the same way, even though his is the most extreme. But my God, he's one of the best wrestlers ever.
All right, well, let's hit to some more stuff. First, a comment from Zen Brown. He said, from talking Masters of the Universe to eating spiders or edible underwear, this podcast is awesome.
Everything.
And we appreciate that, Zen Brown.
Thank you.
Thank you. Curtis Ackerman, he said, you guys talked about the Council of the Wise, but who are the overlords of the eternal dimension that Zodak said he spoke with? I don't know. I think that was the first time I ever heard it.
I think it's just another thing that either David Wise or I forgot the other guys. He is not a very prominent He-Man writer. I think it was just something that was thrown in to kind of add more lore, so to speak. So I don't think it was definitive canon. But if you need to know specifically, I would ask Grimbot in the chat room or James E. Talk. I'm pretty sure it's just made up lore, and that's really about it. Because like a lot of episodes will throw in a bunch of other pieces of kind of filler lore to kind of expand it when they're just trying to kind of fill out the dialogue and the story a little bit.
All right, and JSP said, Origins is the line that should have come out between Vintage and Classics. That's a good point, JSP. I do see what you mean.
I mean, if they were going to, with the commemorative series, maybe they should have done that then.
Work of art over here, which that Nathan named another good point, is that how many more times is Mattel going to keep releasing the same figures over again? You know, that's why I do get burned out if they're not going to add some modifications to their sculpt with a little bit more detailing on Triclops' outfit or something like that. Instead of the same figure, you just move. You can do this. You know, you can add crunch a little bit. I mean, it's just not enough. And especially with the 6-page mini-comic, that's the ultimate middle finger to the fans. Like that's just as important as the figure coming to you intact. Like to dismiss it as a 6-page, it's just like, if you're not going to do it the way it should be, you got no business doing it. Wait till you have more money to play around with.
Definitely. Sportimus says, question, are you getting the new Masters of the Universe toy book that's coming out? And he says, what do you think of it? I'll be honest, I don't buy toy books. It's not being a dick again or anything mean, but I have my toys. I am in so many damn groups where I see all the variants, so it's like, I don't need a book for it, but for those who want the definitive book that's going to show everything about all the toys, all the variants, yeah, get it. But I'm not buying it just because I like my books where it's the art and the stories and the comics. I like those a lot more.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, I feel like, you know, there's not a whole lot of like pictures of the toys that I haven't seen. So unless the book was going to have like a whole slew of like unreleased prototypes and things like that, which I think we've gotten illustrations of characters that were coming and concepts and stuff like that from Power and Honor and the Aaron McCarthy artwork that we've seen that's been covered by them as well, and various other things. Like I just don't need that book. Like I know a lot of people, especially as all about toys. Like I completely understand that, but I'm more of an art guy. The books that I've got here, like James's book, the encyclopedia, and the art, which was given to me as a birthday gift. I mean, some of them are fun to go back and just kind of look through. But a toy book, if it had come out in the early 2000s or late 90s, I'd have pre-ordered that thing and paid $50 for it. But at this point, I just don't need it.
Yeah, I think with these guys, when you have most of the stuff sitting behind you already, do you really need that in a book?
I don't need a book. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Exactly, and I have all these insane pieces of merchandise, and like I said, again, being in these groups, I've seen, but there you go. Fedmon said, question, have you guys got your Mega Constructs Roton set? No, I don't buy the Mega Constructs. Not pissing on them. People love them, but I just haven't bought any. And what about you, Tyler?
I'm not interested. I bought a Moss Man because I saw it on the shelf, and I bought Evelyn and Skeletor because I saw them randomly, but overall, it was just random things. I even kind of regret it. Like, that's $5 I could have spent on something else.
I just got the money for getting all the extra stuff. I mean,
I'm not that enthralled by it. You know, I just am not impressed by a lot of the stuff that He-Man's being licensed out to. I just wish it was a little bit more impressive, but I get why people like it. So now it won't be in my collection. Sorry.
Yeah, I had a few of those, but I think in terms of other stuff, like I think it'd be fun to put Castle Grayskull together from it. Like just I think it'd be fun as a project. Like
long time.
But
cool, but that's
other than that, I've kind of lost interest in it. But I think if you don't have a big display or don't have a lot of space to do it, and you want something on a smaller scale like that, then those things work to make like a little display.
Absolutely. I've lost all interest. Like if it's not something to the quality of vintage and classics, like I have no interest in buying anything else anymore. It's just my room has got clutter on. It's not as much as it used to be, but just too much clutter, and I can't have it. I can't have it. So
I got it. Jay says, do you guys ever play with your toys secretly? No. But I mean, I mean, it could be interesting. I mean, Nathan probably does, but no.
Even as a kid, like I played a little bit, but I didn't want to damage anything, so I just would display them on the shelf.
I played the piss out of them 5 years back. I did love it, but all right, Zen Brown. Well, I think I already know my answer because I know nothing of the other thing. Zen Brown said, "Question: which weekend did you find more entertaining, the DC Fandom or PowerCon?" Well, again, I knew nothing about the DC Fandom. I only see PowerCon, so PowerCon by default, just because I knew nothing about this DC Fandom. When did that happen?
Yesterday.
This weekend.
Oh, wow. Okay, clueless Joe. So I guess that's your guys' way to respond. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I sure didn't find anything interesting out of PowerCon's reveals. So, yeah, I was super stoked for the Batman trailer. I was legitimately happy about everything I saw in it. Can't say I was happy about anything that was revealed. Even with Clam Champ and Ninja being revealed, it was like they just didn't look as good as they should, or good as those characters deserve. So,
I mean,
I would much rather. I wish I could say He-Man, but no.
It's kind of apples and oranges in a way because PowerCon their reveals were strictly towards figures. Now, if they would have had trailers or something for the new shows coming down the road, then it would be a close discussion. But I'll go with DC just because of the Batman trailer and just the excitement, seeing the excitement that other people had for the other stuff that was revealed. Like, yeah, PowerCon had some, like with Origins, it was exciting, but everything else was just kind of there, and that's not really their fault. Maybe PowerCon would have been different had the pandemic not happened. Maybe we could.
Well, I don't even blame that. I blame the fact that they just don't have anything interesting to bring to the table to get people excited. Like the tease, hey, well, we kind of knew there's going to be a toy line based on the Revelations cartoon. Like that's not a surprise. That's not a shocker. But there should have been a teaser image of what the characters are going to look like.
Not just a shadow.
Or yeah, like that's bullshit. Like even if it's just a brief like animation like cell of what He-Man and Skeletor are going to look like. Just something to show where this is going as opposed to, oh, look, it's another quote from Kevin Smith saying this guy did a great job as Roboto. Like, who gives a shit?
Show me stuff.
You know, we need to see the actual damn characters. We need to see the interaction. We need to hear the voices, which, Mark Hamill, I sure as hell hope to God, the genius that you are, that your Skeletor is a lot better than what we heard.
All right.
So.
Masters DC Collector. And this one, I'll be intrigued to answer this. He says, question, what are your opinions on variants? Personally, I think it encourages scalpers and there shouldn't be variants. Everyone should get an opportunity to buy stuff. Well, here's my thing about variants. Now, when it comes to the vintage line, I love seeing Battle Armor He-Man for the first time had a cool-ass gimmick. Thunder Punch, my God, it's snapping and cracking. There goes the pops. And then Flying Fist was a little underwhelming, I'll be honest, but they all had something unique. But when it comes to variants where it's like, okay, here's the figure, but they're just wearing a new armor, or you could pop the armor off and there's no gimmicks to it, it's very underwhelming. Especially like just, okay, 2000X, like we said, there's some good, a lot are shitty, and some are in different poses that makes them unique. But I feel like variants, when it at least comes to Masters of the Universe, the only way it works is when they have an actual gimmick. Because if they were just to keep giving figures just different armor, I'm like, well, what's this? I feel like I'm doing dress up with it. It's nothing. So variants have a positive and a negative to them, just depending on how the context, how they're released. But vintage ones, yes, I was all for all those variants. But 2000X and some of the things they do beyond, it's like, I'm not feeling it. It's just them with different armor and just doesn't do nothing.
Variants are toy line killers. Plain and simple. Masters, Turtles is the worst offender out of all of these. Like, if you want to kill a Turtles line, just start churning out the variants. They clog up the shelves.
Question, how many do you think they had? Nathan, because you collected Turtles.
Too many.
Didn't know anything about them. What would you guesstimate?
God.
Over 20? 30?
Shit, probably. I mean, you think about it.
Really?
They probably put it out in that original vintage line.
They started doing variants after the initial first wave with like the wacky action with Michelangelo, Donatello.
So many, like
and Raph as an astronaut.
They're playing.
Oh
they're
God,
playing
like,
sports. They're farmers. They're like
they're cowboys.
Yeah. They're on the Starship Enterprise. They're Universal monsters. Like it got out of control.
And those were all toys that I was always given as a birthday or Christmas gift. I never voluntarily picked out, except Super Samurai Leo was the only variant I ever picked out. If it wasn't from the movie, it was always a Christmas or birthday gift. So it was never an original character I got for a birthday. It was always like Cowboy Don or Desert
You
Storm
never got
Leo.
the shitty troll dolls, did you?
No, I saw them. I
I
remember them. I remember the
got
commercials for them.
all 4
pretty
of
sure there's
them
commercial
for my
for 'em,
8th
but-
birthday. All 4 of them.
They turned turtles in. Wait a second, because I know nothing. Did you say they just turned the turtles into troll
Yes.
dolls?
You know when
Yeah.
troll dolls got
Oh, dear
really,
God.
really popular?
I remember them.
Yeah,
That's why I'm
they
like,
made
I don't
turtle
understand.
variants
I
of
can even
that
picture-
too, and it sucked.
They also
the
did
fuck?
Stone Protectors, which was like a Turtles knockoff of Trolls for boys, and then they did the Troll figures that were like, Troll is a Terminator, Troll is a vampire. I forgot what
Oh
they were
my
too.
God.
They were really
Troll
trying
Turtles.
to cram.
It
Yeah.
sucked.
Troll
So
Turtles.
for as much shit
Thank God He-Man never hit
as
that.
we give the Masters line sometimes with their variants, Turtles has them beat completely.
If all these lines would do what G.I. Joe did with some of their variants, like every Snake Eyes that came out in the vintage line, I absolutely loved because it was just a new look for the character. Cobra Commander got a alternate look. Destro got I liked what they did. If you didn't like all of them, it wasn't gimmick driven. It was just here's a brand new look for Destro. Here's a brand new look for Dusty or something like that. It was just updating the character. If that's what we were getting with a lot of these lines, that's one thing. But all these shitty gimmicks that just look like, someone just thought they were being cute and funny and clever when they should be fired, for coming up with these ridiculous ideas, along with the person who greenlit it, that's a problem. But the vintage line, it was one variant per year. And I blame Kenner because Kenner, with Ghostbusters and the Batman the Animated Series and the Batman toy lines, it was just variants.
They handled it great for vintage Masters Universe in its time. Like you said, it's just you just got your limited amount of variants.
Yep.
They work,
and every one of them were
all.
great. Like you can't say there's one bad vintage variant, and that includes. I mean, I will say Buzzsaw Hornet's probably the least. It's most underwhelming because it's essentially the same figure, just where the chest opens up. It should have been given a little bit more of a different look.
Yeah. What I liked about it, now that's the thing, I mean, the belt area, I know they changed it too. I know they're in back of me. I don't want to grab them down. But I remember as a kid, I liked it because in my mind, when I would play with them, I'd make it look like it was supposed to be the regular Hordak. And then out of nowhere, boom, the chest opened, and I love that Buzzsaw. You're right. He looks basically the same, but I admit, I really like the Buzzsaw gimmick. But, yeah, so I think that might have been everything. As for the questions, I might have missed some, but it's almost time for us to wrap it up. But yeah, guys, this was a great episode. It was fun. I love that ad that you did, Tyler.
Thanks for all the questions, people. That was good to have a lot of that. I'm proud of you guys tonight for having a whole slew of consecutive questions for Joe.
Really interactive.
There, yeah.
I mean, they were just super interactive. I mean, people popping up at Dan Rabua channel and Zamir Mass. Thanks for joining us, even though we're going to be ending it right now. But yeah, I loved all the interaction. And even, like I said, I know I shit all over your episode, Curtis, but still, it was all in fun. We love you. We love everybody here. But now I'm going to say what I always say.
Thanks, Curtis, for being such a devoted fan of the podcast, too. We our intention was not to disappoint you, but we want to thank you personally for being so supportive, leaving comments, contacting us personally, and I hope we don't ruin your week with our commentary.
Well, I'll find out when I go to Facebook and I see I've been blocked by him.
Hey,
well, I mean, I'm still not going to apologize for what we said. I'm not going to excuse anything we said because that's not what we do. I just want
to say I gave it a 6 out of 10. I just want to put that out there again.
Sure,
you did. So please send your Hillshire Farms gift basket to Nathan and give us the finger on your way out the door, Curtis.
Right. So if you are new to the channel, make sure you like, subscribe, share, and ring that bell so you can always be notified when we go live. And until next time, have a powerful day.
Put that shit back. We're going to Target.
You guys must know that for something that's an inside joke.
Yeah, because that's a quote from Nathan, not a movie.
Have we told that story? I want to tell the story really fast.
Yeah.
We'll get it done super quick. Star Wars Episode 3, the toy line and everything was about to come out. This is when they were doing Unleashed figures. They were doing their 3 3/4 stuff still. We went to Walmart at midnight for the release. This guy comes out with this giant pallet, or a couple of them, and he starts slowly unveiling everything. The first one is Monopoly and the DVD sets, and everyone just groans collectively. They finally get to the figures. We start digging through them. People were because we all had a cart, and people were just grabbing them in a big thing and just dropping them in the cart. So we did that. We started going through them, and I found Mace Windu, and I was like, Mace Windu, how did he get in here? And I just threw him behind my head. and he just went and landed.
And everyone starts laughing because they all knew he sucked.
So we started doing that, but there weren't Unleashed figures, so that's what we were there for, honestly. So we decided.
Well, I was there for some of the 3 3/4 figures. I think all of us got some of those. But the Unleashed figures was like number one.
And they were going to have a tent outside that was going to open up in the morning. So we're like, all right, well, Tyler, I'll come stay with you and your brother, and we'll just stay awake all night, and we'll just go first thing in the morning. We'll be the first people there. That way, we got first dibs on everything. So we went back to Tyler's mom's house, and Tyler went upstairs and fell asleep. And me and his brother were watching like shitty WWF tapes, like WWF Hardcore, where it's like hardcore matches and everything.
Which I just loved. There was nothing. We had very few movies to watch on my mom's house, and that was one of the only ones that was available to watch. Was that WWF?
So we watched that. Tyler's like, I'm getting sleepy. He went upstairs to go to sleep. When that happened, we waited probably about an hour, and then I called him. I was like, dude, man, we're here already. And he's like, you trying to get the jump on me? He was like half asleep. Anyway, we got up. We went. I think we got breakfast after the fact. We got up. We went to Walmart. They had the tent. It was like police guarded, which makes sense, but it seems kind of silly in the grand scheme of things. We go in there.
Yeah, because they just have Pop-Tarts.
We go in there, and all they have is like Monopoly and more Monopoly, like Star Wars cereal and Pop-Tarts. And Tyler, and like I couldn't find Unleashed figures, so immediately I was like pissed off. I find Tyler, he's looking at something stupid, and I'm just like,
I was looking at the early bird. It was a throwback to the 1977 early bird
kit.
It
sucked. Whatever. Tyler's sitting there like taking his time looking at that, and I'm like, man, put that shit back. We're going to Target. So then we got in the car, went to Target. They had the Unleashed figures. We got them. That was a good time.
Yeah, he's leaving out more details because there was but that was the short version because it was like a memorable night. And we spent so much money on the shitty Star Wars figures. Oh my god! And that's back when my job didn't pay nothing, so I spent almost my entire paycheck on all this shitty Star Wars Revenge of the Sith.
Back then,
figures.
when I'm just like, yeah, Hayden Christensen and Anakin, man, this is great.
Well, he's gonna be bad. This is gonna be the better one. Yeah,
because we came away from Attack of the Clones like, yeah, and then we're like, this one's gonna be good, and we thought it was at first. And then you go back and watch it, and you're just like, man, this prequel trilogy sucks.
Like we can't convince ourselves.
So put that shit back. We're going to Target.
Yeah,
All right, well, see you guys next week.